Hey, I'm Henry Shapiro. I'm one of the co-founders of Reclaim, and today I'm going to be talking a little bit about scheduling links, and we're going to talk a little bit about what scheduling links are and kind of how you can use them to get your meetings booked and make sure that you're getting the right meetings booked sooner. And then we'll talk a little bit about how Reclaim is doing this job a little differently than some of the solutions you might be used to. When we first started researching this feature and talking to users, we really wanted to understand what the biggest problems were that people were facing with scheduling links today. And there's lots of solutions in the market for you to send links to someone, have them book some time with you. And what we learned from surveying, I think it was about 2,000 different users, was really that there were two primary issues that users faced that solutions didn't solve for today. The first one was really around prioritization. So, you send someone a scheduling link, and you might have a bunch of stuff on your calendar, like a hold for lunch or a hold for a one-on-one with one of your colleagues, or a habit where you're going to be, spending some time catching up on email. And for most of us, if it's an important meeting, we're willing to schedule over those things, right? But our scheduling links today, or the scheduling links out in the market, really don't recognize that. They have no awareness of what matters to you. And so you're constantly having to go to your calendar before you send a scheduling link, remove those meetings, and then, send a link out and make sure that you've actually got the availability shown there. So that was one really big issue that we wanted to solve. The other thing that came up pretty frequently, and it was the number two most common thing that we heard from the survey we sent out, was that there just wasn't enough flexibility for attendees in the kind of times that they could pick. So you might have run into this situation before where you're emailing with somebody, and you decide to have a meeting and you're not really sure how much time they want, right? Like, you could send them a 30-minute link, but they're not really, you're not really sure if they want 30 minutes or 15 minutes or an hour. And similarly, you don't necessarily want to send them your whole booking page, because that may have a whole bunch of links on it that, that you might not want them to see, or you might not want them to have to to decipher what those different links mean. And so we really wanted to set out to solve those two problems. And Reclaim is really well positioned to solve those problems, because unlike basically every other scheduling link product in the market, we know what matters to you, because we literally have a system today that, prioritizes your tasks and your routines and your one-on-one meetings and schedules them for you. And then similarly, we can help with the flexibility problem, because we're already in the business of moving events around for our customers, millions and millions of times a day, on hundreds of thousands of different calendars. And so those were really the two problems we wanted to focus on, besides obviously delivering kind of the core feature of I can send a link to somebody and get some time booked. And so to give you a sense of this, I'll just kind of show you our scheduling links feature, which I have pulled up here. So, you can obviously go in and create a new scheduling link. I'll show you that here in a minute. But what I'll probably do is just kind of start by showing you some of the pre-canned kind of templates that come with scheduling links when you first set it up. And it's really these three at the top here. So this first one is probably the really interesting and exciting one, which is this concept of a high priority link. And if you scroll all the way down in this CRUD form here, you'll see that we have this priority toggle. And what high priority links are going to do is they're not only going to show your free times as free. So in other words, these types of gaps on your calendar, this is the type of stuff that most other platforms tend to honor. Those will obviously show as free. But it will also show your tasks, habits, and smart one-on-ones that are currently marked as busy as available time. So in other words, you're going to offer up your maximum availability to somebody. This is like the type of link where if you send it out, the expectation is, hey, plow over any of my tasks or my routines or my smart one-on-ones, because this meeting is more important. And then obviously, if those things get overbooked, they'll move to the next best time. And that's kind of the core magic of Reclaim. I'll walk through the rest of this here in a moment. But I'll just kind of show you what this looks like when I open this link up. Just hit open. You can see here that, and this is actually nice because it's showing me my calendar here. If someone else were to open this up they weren't a Reclaim user, they would see a little prompt here to authenticate their calendar. If they want to show their available times, they don't have to do that. They can book a time with you without authenticating anything. But the nice thing here is I get to see my availability kind of overlaid with the person who I'm booking time with. But since we're kind of looking at one and the same here, this is kind of nice. What you're seeing here is we actually have all these available slots. So these are all smart one-on-ones. Patrick and Ellen, and Patrick and Nizam, and Patrick and Kathy. These are all kind of, what we would call smart one-on-ones, but you can see that they're actually showing as available, right? I've got this time at 10:45 that's showing as available. I've got this time at 11 o'clock that's showing as available. I've got this time at 3 o'clock that's showing as available that would kind of overbook my meeting with Kathy. And so the idea here is basically offering up maximum availability to attendees so that they can see when you're available, even in cases where you might have something bookmarked that's really lower priority than taking that meeting. This is a really, really exciting development for us because it's really sort of getting into this realm of like Reclaim sort of understanding what matters to you and allowing you to kind of express that priority to people that you're booking meetings with. So we're really excited about this development. If I wanted to go book this meeting, I'll just kind of give you a basic demo of how the thing works. I can go in here and, click 11. If it already knows my name and email, it'll fill it in automatically. I can add other people to the invite, and then I can hit confirm. And you'll see here, now I've got this meeting that's scheduled on December 1st. And it's booked over my smart one-on-ones. And what's going to happen to these in a few seconds is they're going to actually reschedule to the next best time. And once I have it here, I can obviously reschedule it or cancel it directly from the event. I also have those controls in here. But really, this idea is kind of like there are things that happen inside of our kind of work lives all the time and our personal lives as well, where we're willing to kind of make these trade-offs for the right kinds of meetings. And that's really what high priority links are meant to solve. And there they go. So you can see those smart one-on-ones got moved. A couple of them got moved to, one of them got moved to Thursday, one got moved to Friday, and now I've got my meeting booked. And I didn't have to go in and move meetings around and talk to Kathy and talk to Nizam and say, hey, can I move this thing here and move this thing there? Like Reclaim just took care of all of that for me. So this is a really, really powerful workflow. And it's something that I think if you're in the business of constantly booking like customer meetings or investor meetings or meetings with candidates where like you really want to be able to move those things around, we would really encourage you to use high priority links to do that. The next thing that kind of speaks to more of the flexibility point is this concept of flexible durations. And what flexible durations are is basically the ability to add up to 3 different durations that your attendees can use to book time with you. And so this is great in those cases where you're not really sure like how much time somebody wants from you. You're not really sure if you should send them like a 30-minute link or a 45-minute link or a 15-minute link. And the other really nice thing about this is it kind of lets the attendee not only decide how much time they want from you, but also kind of decide how quickly they want to meet with you. Because oftentimes the less time that they need, the sooner they'll be able to meet with you. The more time they need, they'll, later it'll be. And so it kind of it puts the control in their hands. And when we talk about scheduling link etiquette, a lot of the conversation has really been about things like, oh, don't send someone a scheduling link without putting some text in that says, hey, happy to work times out over email if it's easier for you or whatever is best for you. But we really believe that it's more nuanced than that. And it's actually more complicated. It has a lot more to do with how your scheduling link shows a person what their priority is to you. Right? Like, how important is this meeting to you that you're going to send me a link that has no times available that week or that gives me no options to meet with you sooner? And so that's really what we're trying to do here is give you the ability to kind of show your most flexible self to your attendees and especially to the attendees that really matter. And so I will open this guy up and you just can kind of get a feel for how we do this. So you can see here, I've got these 15-minute slots that are showing up here. And this is actually a normal priority link. So it's not going to show my habits and tasks as available. If I were to go, maybe I'll go to like next week and see what's going on here. We're not going to see certain types of times available. The other thing you'll notice is that we have these little green dots, and these really show you kind of preferred times. And preferred times in our world just basically means when are you actually completely free? Meaning, 9 a.m. is not an ideal time because it's going to book over your morning catch-up habit, and we'd like ideally for you to get that habit. So we'll try to gently encourage someone to book at 9:15 or 9:30 so that it doesn't interrupt that habit and it kind of allows you to get that time. If I go to 25 minutes, you can see my time options change. If I go to 30 minutes, they change again. And so the idea is like, give the attendee the power to basically decide how much time they need with you, and use that as kind of another little arrow in your quiver that you can use to schedule meetings sooner, and also give attendees a lot more control over how much time they want to get from you, and kind of what their preferences for the meeting are. I'll back up a little bit since I've talked a bit about flexible durations and prioritization, just to kind of show you how to create your first scheduling link, and I'll kind of talk through what each of these things means. So before I do that, actually, I'll just show you. This is your booking page, and this really contains all of the links that you've created inside of Reclaim. So you can send someone in this whole booking page, and they can kind of see these different links, and it basically gives them the ability to kind of pick from those different links when they want to book time with you. But I'll kind of walk you through the process of creating a new link. So let's say I want to create a kind of normal priority link, and this is sort of my long meeting. And this description is going to be something that will live on the scheduling page, on that scheduling links page. So it might be like, hi there, excited to connect. Feel free to grab whatever time works best for you. You can see here that I get this little URL. I can customize this if I want to stick with the default that Reclaim provides. And then here I can provide, again, multiple durations. So I could just make it a 30-minute meeting if I want. Or I could add in a 45-minute meeting as well, and an hour-long meeting as well. So what this is going to do is give people the option to pick 30 minutes, 45 minutes, or 1 hour through a single link. This set of hours is basically, kind of when you want your attendees to be able to schedule time with you. By default, we use your meeting hours, but you can use your working hours, your personal hours, or you can give a custom time range. If you're like, hey, never want to have meetings on Fridays, that's lame. And I actually want them to only be bookable between, 12 p.m. and 3 p.m. And then I could, change that in there as well. But I'm just going to use my meeting hours. If you ever want to check your hours, you can go in here, and you can add those ranges or change those ranges as you'd like. So you can kind of check in on what those hours are. So the next thing here is the scheduling range, and this really tells you kind of what's the soonest you want people to be able to book time with you, and what's the kind of latest, the kind of furthest out that you want them to book time with you. And this is really useful if you're kind of like trying to avoid getting calendar slammed, same day or within 30 minutes or within 15 minutes of a meeting. By default, it'll be 4 hours from the time of booking, and you could do, 7 days, for example. I could do, I could do 30 minutes if I really want to live dangerously. But what I really like to do is these kind of two options that are pretty unique. So this first one is start of next bookable day. And what this basically says is don't let people book with me until the start of the next kind of eligible day, the next day when someone could feasibly book a meeting according to my preferences. Similarly, I could do start of next bookable week. So if it's Wednesday and I don't want people to be able to book more meetings with me during that week, or if it's Tuesday and my calendar's already super full and I'm looking ahead to Friday and I'm like, I really don't want to get any more meetings booked, you can do start of next bookable week. And what that will do is just basically offset the available time to the next, basically the start of the next, available week for you. I can also pick a date. This one is a little less common, but sometimes this can be useful if you have some kind of link that you don't want to go live until a certain time, or if you're trying to kind of set it around cadence around like, sales or support. It sometimes can be useful to set a date, but generally we advise kind of using this, either this rolling time window or the start of next bookable day or start of next bookable week. And then, of course, the ending time. This is basically just saying how far out do you want people to be able to book. The max is 100 days. By default, it's 60. I'm just going to leave it at that. You can also pick a hard-coded date. Again, that can be useful if you really want to send out a link that's only available for a period of time. But if you want something to kind of be permanently available, this rolling time window is really your best bet. And then priority, we already talked about this, but normal priority is just going to offer up your normal availability. It's just showing free times as available. High priority is going to show your maximum availability, basically, your tasks, your habits, your smart one-on-ones, your decompression time. Even if it's marked busy, it's going to show as free time. And it just kind of offers up the most amount of times to people that Reclaim can muster. I can pick an icon if I want to be, if I want to add a little smiley face, and then I can add some video conferencing to it. I can add the Zoom integration here if I'd like. Otherwise, I can use Google Meet, or I can just paste in a location. So I could say, my house, or I could add an actual video conferencing link from Zoom. Like if I wanted to take this link, this is the link for this meeting. I could just pop it in here and anyone could join this Zoom link. So lots of ways to get that location on there. And then visibility. Visibility is kind of the last step in this process. And what visibility basically determines is, will this thing be hidden or shown on your booking page? So sometimes you might have a link that you want to be able to use for certain types of meetings, but you don't want people to be able to see it on your scheduling link page. So this is kind of your main list of links, but you might want to exclude this link. And in fact, I'm just going to do that just to show you what it looks like. So I hit create. And now I've got this thing. And as you can tell, if I go back here, so now I've got this link that lives here. I mean, I could copy this link, send it to people, and you can see it loads up just fine. It shows my availability. I've got all the preferences that I set here. I think I set start of next bookable week, I'm pretty sure was what I said. And that's why I've got this time here. But then if I were to actually reload this booking page, you can see it's not shown on this booking page. So I have this link that's kind of hidden from my main booking page, but I can still send it out to people without them kind of being able to discover my main booking page. So pretty useful, pretty useful little tool. The other nice thing about scheduling links is that you can see all of the upcoming meetings for different types of scheduling links. So I can see here that I have a meeting with Patrick back in the day. I had another one coming up on December 1st. So I kind of get this nice little kind of ledger of meetings that I've taken using different types of links. So the other nice thing, as I mentioned, I'm going to log out of Reclaim. This will give you a sense. So this is what a person will see if they're logged out from Reclaim or if they don't have a Reclaim account. They'll see this kind of like, hey, if you want to see when you're available as well, connect your calendar. And this will kind of show you the overlap, kind of the delta between your time and their time. And it's just a nice way of showing if, you're overbooked or going to be overbooked if you take a meeting at a certain time for someone else. Additionally, Reclaim will automatically detect your time zone, but if you are traveling or Reclaim for whatever reason didn't pick the right time zone, or if you just kind of want to convert it, like maybe you've got a colleague that's East Coast and you're trying to coordinate a meeting with them, I could just go in and say Eastern Standard Time, and I've got this guy, and now it will convert all of my times to use Eastern Standard Time. If I'm, in Europe and I want to use 24-hour time, I can also convert it to 24-hour time. And that just makes it easier to basically see, kind of things in a format I'm familiar with. So lots of controls here. If I'm a person who Reclaim's not aware of, or, I don't have a Reclaim account, I fill in my name, Bob, blah, blah. I fill in my, organization. I can CC other people. Right? I can add up to 10 people, can add a little message, and then, I can confirm the meeting. So that's basically it. Really, really excited for you to try it out. And we're super excited to be bringing a lot of these capabilities to market. We have lots more coming, and we're excited to see what you do with them. Thanks.